In today's Sharp Saturday video, we're going to take a look at another knife from a brand that has become one of my favorites, actually. My friends over in Spain at Jeo-Tec. This is the Jeo-Tec number 29. Ain't she purty? That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me and the mosquitoes who just don't seem to give up here at Survival on Purpose Worldwide Headquarters for another Sharp Saturday video from, like I said, one of my favorite knife brands now, the folks at Jeo-Tec over in Spain. And this, again, is the Model 29, where the mosquitoes seem to like it too. And I say this is one of my favorite brands because it's just, and their edges are something else. They've done a really good job on these knives. This is a seriously beefy, solid knife, and it's just very, very well suited to all sorts of stuff. I haven't even used it yet, and I really, really like it. I can just from holding it. The folks at Jeo-Tec were kind enough to send me this so I could show it to you. And we're gonna do that. But first, as always, a quick word to my friends at Big Daddy Unlimited for making these Sharp Saturday videos possible. So if you go to survivalonpurpose.com/BDU and join Big Daddy Unlimited for just 99 cents for a 1-month trial membership, you check it out and you see that it's going to save you money, and you stick around for the full membership, which is either 10 bucks a month or 100 bucks a year, then they'll send me a couple of bucks for introducing you. So if you save money, it helps support the channel. So I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, golly, these mosquitoes are crazy. So that being said, let's get down to the stump top. We'll talk about the specs of this thing real quickly, and we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff before it gets dark. And you know, we got to get all scientific with this one. Okay, so here's the Jeo-Tec number 29. And let's talk about the specs of this thing real quickly. It has an overall length of 9.84 inches. For those of you still stuck in that old metric system, that's 250 millimeters. Has a blade length of 4.92 inches, or 125 millimeters, with a blade thickness of 0.2 inches, so 1/5 of an inch, or 5 millimeters. The knife itself weighs 9.9 ounces alone, or 281 grams, and the knife with the sheath and the ferro rod that it comes with weighs 14.9 ounces, or 422 grams, and that's a really nice sheath. We'll look at that in a second. The blade steel is molybdenum vanadium with a hardness of 56 to 58, and that is stainless steel. And the handle's available in either micarta or cocobolo wood. This one, as you can see, is this very, very pretty cocobolo wood. And the sheath, let's talk about the sheath. It's a really nice sheath. I've got this thing all packed in here, but it's a really nice leather sheath. I think they do a really good job on the sheaths. And with a ferro rod loop in here, it's got a nice regular belt carry here that snaps on. It also has, and if you really want to make that secure, then you could feed the snap behind here. You can snap it on like so. Then you can snap this back on around here, and that's going to give you a little added security for your belt if you need to do that. I don't, that's just something I just noticed. And then the back of it's got this little elastic right here to kind of give you a little stretch here. See that right there? And it's got this really cool little button type closure on the front, which I think is pretty cool as well. And the knife fits in there really well, like so. Like so. And I suppose you could use this for scout carry. I'm not sure. I think that's what that's supposed to be for. I'm not a scout carry guy, so I can't tell you. Then it has a ferro rod loop here with a standard ferro rod size on it. This comes with this ferro rod, which is just basically just a cheap Chinese ferro rod, I'm sure. So there's that. Talk about a couple more features about the knife, and we'll get to doing some knife stuff because mosquitoes are wearing me out. First of all, it's got some nice little jimping right up here, very subdued. You can get your thumb on there really well if you're doing some close-up carving or whatever. It's got a choil here, and again, to my mind, that choil could be a little smaller. It's not big enough to tempt you to put your finger in there and get cut right there, but it's still bigger than it needs to be to get a sharpening edge up there. I like a sharpening choil, but that one's a little big. That's the only complaint I've had about these knives, really. And it's just my personal preference, but I don't think it's necessary. But anyway, that's just me. It's got a nice finger guard here, a nice flare on the end of the handle here for chopping, light chopping. It's not an axe, obviously. An exposed pommel with a lanyard loop in it. So full tang, obviously, very nice, solid looking knife. Feels like it has a pretty sharp spine. We're gonna check that. So without further ado, let's get to doing some of that knife stuff because like I said, it is getting dark and the mosquitoes are wearing me out. So First, we're gonna do a little chopping, and what I thought I would start doing here, maybe for consistency's sake, I've got some 2x4s here, probably very similar to what you would find in the wild, I'm sure, but it's solid and it's dry, and I think it's a consistent test, so probably pine. We're gonna do a little chopping, just a short bit of chopping with it just to see, because this is not an axe, but for small chopping stuff, you might be able to do that. And then we'll do some batoning, and then we'll do some carving. So let's just see. First, we're gonna try to just chop on the end of it and see how well it chops. If you need to sharpen something. Right, get back, Kuma. Get back. Get back, buddy. Needs to cut you. Now, oh, you know what I forgot? Oh, I almost forgot the science part. We got to do the redneck sharp test. I'm changing arms here because, you know, it's just, and, woo, baby. And like, as every other one of these knives I've tested from Jeo-Tec, it's a roaring, raging success on the redneck sharp test. I know somebody wants me to do a paper test. I hate doing this, and you know it, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just to show you. Okay, it's sharp. It cuts paper. Yeehaw. Now let's do some regular old chopping here. Just gonna do like a few whacks and see what it does. It's really too short to chop safely because I don't want to chop my fingers. Pretty good chopping on a 2x4 there. This is really hard 2x4, by the way. Let me get something else just to show you. So here's some pretty dry but admittedly softer wood. Let's see how well it chops on this, because this is something that's more reasonable to think you might have to chop with a knife. Okay, so to be completely honest, it's not the greatest chopper. It's not really a mass forward kind of knife. And there's a few times I could feel it bite really well, like I got it just in the perfect sweet spot, but this is not really an axe, okay? So it's not the best chopper, but let's see how well, if you had to get through something this big, try a different way. So what about maybe a little cross batoning? Gonna try that? Let's try that. So, actually did a lot better than chopping because you're not dependent upon the mass of the knife to get the cutting done. So, so now maybe I'm gonna try a little batoning. And if you were trying to get some really good killing out of this, we'll just chop this up right here. First, we'll start with that because this is a small, reasonable thing to do. And I've had some comments lately again about, you know, from people about batoning is just not what a knife's intended to do. And my question to that is, says who? Who decided that then that's not what the purpose of this knife is, or what the intent of a knife is not to do this? Because I think the intent of a knife is to do whatever you intend to do with it. That's just my opinion, of course, and everybody's entitled to their own. So, but I do think that I had a comment today, actually, that anything that you would do batoning can be done more safely with an axe. I completely disagree, completely. If you're trying to baton something small like this to get some kindling out, because maybe you don't live somewhere, or you're not somewhere where there are some small twigs, because you don't live in the environment you're used to being in, then there's no way that you can do this as safely with an axe. You just can't, period. I don't care what anybody says. So there we go. So there's that. But what about some larger batoning? What about something like this? This is like I said again, this is something you might, exactly like you might find in the wild, you know? Let's just see. And I batoned a bunch of these. Oh, that one did good. So last week when I was making a video, and I batoned a bunch of these when I was making a video about the stove that actually aired yesterday when this video airs. But some of them had some knots in them and they were really, really tough. This one's pretty easy, so we'll give that as it is. So there's that. What about some carving? We'll try some carving on a couple things. We'll try this really soft wood because this is super, super soft, super soft. We'll carve some of the curls with it. I'm trying to, this is going to be a slightly abbreviated video because it's getting dark, and I want to get this done. But I've always been really happy with the edges on these Jeo-Tec knives. I just don't want it to get dark before we get a chance to do the science. You know what I mean? Okay, so those are some pretty small curls there. Can you see those? All right. Curl those off, and then we'll try some from the the 2x4, like you might find in the wild. Okay, so that's how small they are. I cut a bunch of them off, but they all look like that, so that's pretty good. One more thing we'll do before we do the fire part that you know we're going to do. I got a little bit of cedar here. I always like to try the cedar curls. Let's see how it curls. Let's try something here. There we go. Let's see. Trying to get a little longer area of this curlable. Okay, so there's some cedar curls. Now let me just give you my take on this. So first of all, it's got a good sharp edge on it, but I got to say, of all the Jeo-Tec knives I reviewed, this one seems to be the least carvable for me. I've some of these things, they just the curls just seem to almost curl themselves. This one took a really good bit of control, and maybe it's because of the thickness of the blade. Because even though it's got a pretty high grind on it, it's still. Come on, watch out, buddy. You're in the way. Look out! Go get it. Go get it. It's still got a pretty thick, steep angle here because it's so thick. Maybe that's it. It just it seems to have a little different bevel on the secondary bevel, but it carves okay. It's just not as it doesn't carve as good as some of them. I'll just be honest with you. Just not. It wasn't as easy. It didn't seem to be as easy for me to use. So, but it gets the job done. So, just trying to be honest with you here. You know what's next here, don't you? I got the old piece of fat wood here. Man, this is a beautiful piece of fat. Look at it. Just look at that, man. And we're gonna see how well it scrapes some fat wood. We'll just try that here. How about right here? You wanna try it right here? Let's try it. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Ooh, man. Don't you wish we had smell-o-vision? Okay. And it scrapes fat wood very, very well. So we'll take that here, put that back in storage. Now, before it gets too dark, let's get the old fat ferro rod that came with it out. This is just a basic ferro rod. And let's see if we can get us a little fire action going. Because you know I like me some fire. Get the paint off of it. Get the paint off of it, I said. Look at it, man, booyah, love me some fat wood right there. Okay, how about that? All right, how about a little science? All right, so that's the specifications and some of the real world testing of the Jeo-Tec Model 29 here. And I want to kind of give you a rundown of what my overall opinion is about this knife. But first, as you know, here at Survival on Purpose, we are all about the science. And to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art cutting-edge knife testing facility here at our worldwide headquarters. And one of the industry standard tests we like to do on all fixed blade knives is the aerodynamic balance test using the balance, orientation, and rotation device. So before we talk about my overall view of this knife, it would be incomplete without the science part. So let's do that right now. And by the way, I had somebody comment the other day that I should always test the calibration before I start the video, but that takes all the fun out of it. So it's not calibrated yet. Hopefully we'll get this one right because it's got a wooden handle, so we don't want to bang it up too bad, but let's just see. Science is important. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. Shall we try again? Whoop, 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 whoop. So my calibration was off a little bit. Come here, Kuma, come here, come here. Somebody else complained in one video because you can see Kuma in the background and I was calibrating a knife. Even I'm not that bad. Whoop, 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 whoop. Because I do love Kuma. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, that's 3. I usually stop at 3, but hey, it's going so well. We'll stop at 4. Okay, so we're gonna call this unbalanced. And as I said, I know it's getting a little dark here, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But my overall impression of this knife, it definitely is not a chopper. Okay, a little bit of small stuff. You can do better. If you need to chop something small, whether you're making a shelter, I mean, look, let's be real. For a survival knife, really, the only reason you need to chop stuff, you're not chopping a tree down, building a cabin, but you might need to cut some saplings or something down to build a shelter, right? So you're probably gonna be better off using a baton technique, a baton and bend, or even a slice and bend than trying to chop with this. But if you need to baton something, whether you're trying to get a hearth board for a bow drill fire, and if you're having to do that, then shame on you for not having a lighter in your pocket, is what I say. But you might just need to baton something to carve it or to get yourself some kindling, because a lot of people say, well, I've never had to baton in my entire life. Well, you know what? I live in the Eastern Woodlands area in Georgia, so neither had I really. I don't have to baton. I've never had to baton because I've always been able to find small sticks. But there are other geographical locations and other biosystems that may not be the case. You might be able to only find a few dead pieces of driftwood or something like that. You might need to baton something down to make yourself some kindling. That's just, so don't base your judgment on whether something is useful or not only on your limited experience, because we all have limited experiences, most of us do. So there's my little 2-cent soapbox on batoning. But this knife will take a licking and keep on ticking. So as far as batoning goes, it is tough. You're not gonna worry about breaking this, I don't think, unless you're just really crazy. Carving, it carves okay. It's got a great edge on it. You saw it does pass the Redneck sharp test, but it's just, for me, I guess it just takes a little getting used to, but this is a little bit different bevel than the ones I'm used to. And it seemed like I had to put it a little bit steeper angle or shallower angle, whatever. I had to, more perpendicular to the wood to really get a good carve. And it takes a little practice on that. So there's that. The spine on it is a good 90-degree spine. It scrapes and strikes really, really well. And as you saw, it is very aerodynamically balanced. So got to give this one we'll call it a B+ on the grading scale. Pretty good knife, and it's also really pretty. I like the sheath. Matter of fact, the sheath might bring it to an A- because it's a really nice sheath. So there you go. Thanks again to the folks at Jeo-Tec for sending me this so I can show it to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.